Hello, this is Yogi, and welcome to my channel, Dual Life Systems. So, most people here in Medellín experience the city through vacations and tourist areas, but after almost more than 23 years between here, Colombia, and the United States, I've experienced a very different side of the city. Tonight, I'm going to take you with me on my motorcycle ride through Medellín rush hour on the way to one of my businesses in the Aranjuez neighborhood. So, here, let's begin. The rush hour in Medellín has its own rhythm. So thousands of motorcycles, they're moving through the city all at the same time, traffic flowing in every direction. People are heading home, they're going to work, stopping at local businesses, stopping to get a bite to eat, stopping to get a beer, a drink, just living everyday life. So a few years ago, I took motorcycle classes here in Medellín. Well, actually late last year, not a few years ago, sorry about that. So it was about a 6-week class before eventually buying my own motorcycle. But that's a whole different issues. So going through taking motorcycle classes here, very interesting. So their classes are set up with their kind of like their Department of Motor Vehicles, so you can get your license at the very school that I went to, at least, where I took my classes. So I'll get into that in maybe a later video. But here, living everyday life, taking these motorcycle classes, buying my own, eventually bought my own motorcycle, a Yamaha FZ 250. So at the time, but riding through this kind of traffic honestly felt really intimidating after I got my license. But over time, riding through the city became one of my favorite parts of life here. I mean, initially it was scary, I have to admit. I feel like I was gonna be constantly just get squashed by a truck or something like that, but it's just a whole different set of rules. Just a whole different, apples to oranges compared to the United States, I promise you that. So, you experience Medellín very differently on a motorcycle. You really feel the movement of the neighborhoods, the energy of the streets, the pace of the city. You notice small things you would normally miss inside a car. And after spending more than 23 years between Colombia and the United States, I've realized those small everyday experiences are actually what shape your connection to a place over time. So, not the tourist moments, not vacations, the routines, the habits. So, the streets you drive every week, the people you see regularly, the systems that slowly become part of your life, that's a big part of what this channel is going to explore moving forward. So the idea behind Dual Life Systems is really about building a life that feels intentional, sustainable between two very different worlds. So for me, Medellín became much more than a place I visited. I spent years building relationships here, raising a family here. I really connected to Colombia. So starting these businesses, learning the culture, creating routines, developing a completely different perspective on lifestyle and quality of life. And over time, I realized how much environment affects everything. Your stress levels, your mindset, your focus, your health, even the pace of your thoughts. So one thing I really appreciate about Medellín is that life here still feels very connected to everyday human interaction in a way that many places in the United States slowly lost over time. I guess for lack of better words. So people spend more time outside here, walking the neighborhoods, talking, sitting at cafes, stopping at local businesses. So there's a rhythm to life, and it feels more present. So, and I think that slower rhythm actually helped me because more intentional and more productive. It helped me become more intentional and more productive over time. So tonight, this evening, I'm riding through this Medellín neighborhood, as you can see, during rush hour on my way to one of my businesses in the Aranjuez neighborhood. I have a bar in two neighborhoods, one in Aranjuez and one in Paris, Bello, both in very, what they call Zona Rosa, so very high, kind of like party districts. Lots of restaurants and bars and that sort of thing. So great neighborhoods, fantastic neighborhoods. So it's not an area it's really not an area most tourists usually spend time in. And honestly, that's part of what I appreciate about it. So after spending so many years here, I became much more interested in real everyday life than the tourist version of a city. So I think there's a huge difference between visiting a place and becoming connected to it over time. So like me, when you spend enough years somewhere, eventually it stops feeling like travel. It becomes part of your life. It simply becomes just part of your life. So that's what happened for me here in Colombia. And living between two countries for this long changes your perspective in ways that are difficult to explain unless you experience it personally. You start to see the strengths, the weaknesses of both environments more clearly. So, in the United States, life often feels more structured, efficient, optimized. There's value in that, no doubt, but it creates constant, for me at least, it created constant pressure, right? Mental noise for a lot of people as well. So here in Medellín, it just feels more human to me, more connected. Not perfect, it's not easy. I mean, look at me trying to maneuver past these trucks in traffic and learning the ways of life here. It took time, but it wasn't easy, but I became more grounded in everyday experiences and my relationships, just doing all these types of things. And over time, I realized that balance matters more than the extremes. So I'm very interested in productivity, technology, also AI tools, business systems, and building efficient routines. That's also a big part of what I'm going to do. So, but I also think real quality of life, it depends on health. Hence, my videos going to the gym. Discipline, stick with it. Keep going to the gym, get out there. I'm running my businesses. I've got a good structure, what time I go in, the things I do for my businesses. It gives me peace of mind. So without those things, I think productivity eventually becomes empty. So that's why, especially fitness, it became so important to anchor me in my life over the years. So, and I even mentioned in all my other videos, no matter where I am, I always stay consistent with that training, the routines, sleep, health, and structure. Although sleep's been a little problem lately because of the businesses. I have to get in later and I get out pretty late, Sometimes I'll get home at 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., 3 a.m., depending on how busy the businesses are. But it's fun. It keeps me disciplined. It creates stability for me. So especially during periods of this, like this change, stress, travel, or major life transitions, it really gave me a lot of stability. And honestly, all this consistency, it became more important, especially as we get older. So you start to realize that freedom is not just really created by motivation. Freedom comes from systems, from habits, the habits we form, from routines that reduce chaos and help you stay mentally clear over long periods of time. So that's what dual life systems is all about. Not fake hustle culture, not pretending life is perfect. Just documenting the process of building a healthier, a more intentional, and I always say that, more intentional, more balanced life between the two worlds. So after 23 years between Colombia and the United States, I feel like I'm only now beginning to fully understand what that actually means. So in this video, going back to this video, I'm gonna just let it play and you're gonna see me coming up close to my bar in Aranjuez, and I'll probably do some more videos in the evening because it gets crazy busy over there in the evening. So as I pull in, it's just getting, we're just opening up, getting the chairs out, that sort of thing. But it gets very hustle bustle busy, crazy, and I will definitely probably tonight. I'm gonna make another video for my channel tonight. I'm gonna show you just how crazy it gets out there. So enjoy the rest of the video. I'm just gonna let it flow. This is all raw, unedited, basically video content. So I just want you to experience exactly how it is for me, just going into it without a script, without a plan. So please subscribe to my channel and enjoy my videos and ask questions, and I will be more than happy to answer any of them.